In bull markets, betrayal doesn't feel like a knife, it feels like applause. By the time you hear the silence, the damage is already done. I grew up measuring worth by the weight of a handshake. My father, Daniel Moreau, ran a mid-sized factoring company in Marseille. We weren't glamorous, no marble lobbies or press conferences, just a steady business advancing cash to manufacturers against invoices, shaving a fee, keeping factories running. Liquidity is trust, my father said. We don't sell money, we sell reliability. In 2012, after a decade abroad learning risk models and the grammar of spreadsheets, I came home. My father's partner, a charming former banker named Renaud, welcomed me with a clap on the shoulder. The prodigal returns, he laughed. We've grown. Europe wants yield. We'll give it to them. He had a way of turning every meeting into theater, and every concern into a joke that made you feel foolish for asking. Conflict. Rates were near zero. Investors were starved. Funds that once ignored firms like ours now circled like gulls over a trawler. Renault pitched a new product, a higher-octane vehicle promising stable 8% returns from diversified invoices. The brochure glowed with phrases like credit enhancement and structured pool, the kind of language that makes risk look like engineering rather than uncertainty. I found the first crack in a Tuesday night spreadsheet: concentration. The pool wasn't diversified. A single client, Trochin Textiles, accounted for 22% of receivables. I flagged it. Renaud smiled. We have an insurance wrap, he said, tapping the page where a tiny footnote slept. Besides, Rochin's CEO is an old friend of your father's. When I pressed, he dropped the joke. Investors want volume. If we don't feed them, someone else will. I brought it to my father. He looked tired. We'll step down the exposure by summer, he said. Don't frighten the money. Summer arrived, and with it, more applause. The fund doubled. Journalists began to use phrases like regional champion. I flew to Frankfurt to present our model. After the meeting, a quiet analyst asked a quiet question. Your insurance wrap claims paid on time? I answered yes, because that's what I had been told. He nodded, unconvinced. Then Rochin missed a shipment. A flood had shut their dyeing facility. Their buyers delayed payment. Invoices slipped from 30 to 60 days. Our covenants allowed it, barely. Renaud told me to roll the exposure. Floods recede. Don't blink. We securitized fresh receivables to pay out investors in the senior tranche. The applause got louder, 8% like clockwork, powered by a machine that now needed speed to hide the smoke. The second crack was smell, not sight, a perfume of desperation in the calls. Renaud pushed for temporary exceptions to the concentration caps. We can't show shrinking assets, he said. It spooks them. The board approved after all. We were relationship lenders, not cold algorithms. In October, a courier arrived with a thin envelope from our insurer. Inside, a reservation of rights, legalese for we might not pay. The reason: potential misrepresentation of obligor concentration and credit deterioration at inception. They were questioning the very numbers we used to sell the fund. I looked for my father. He was on the road visiting investors to calm nerves he couldn't yet name. That night, I stayed late and opened an email thread Renaud had asked me not to read. Lawyer stuff. In it, I found a spreadsheet labeled Marketing Deck versus Master Tape. The columns didn't match. The version we'd shown investors had smoothed the concentration, trimming Rochin's share with expected future invoices. Future. We had presented intention as fact. I walked to my father's office. He listened, then closed his eyes. Did you approve it? He asked. I shook my head. He exhaled the sound of a man subtracting years. Renaud told me the insurer had verbally cleared the adjustment, he said. On his word, I signed. The bank called in our facility. The insurer stalled. Investors that praised our discipline now demanded exits, redemptions, reassurances measured in hours, and Renaud, he pivoted to survival. In a board meeting, he slid a memo across the table. Governance review, compliance failures. My name appeared 3 times. He wasn't joking now. He was rewriting. I could fight him and destroy the company, or swallow blame and salvage the book for the people who trusted our name. My father stared at the window. We can rebuild reputation, he said, but not if people lose their savings. It felt like choosing which limb to amputate. I signed the memo. I called investors one by one, explained the gaps, canceled bonuses, sold the second home. We wound down the fund at par for seniors, a haircut for juniors. It wasn't heroic. It was triage. Months later, after regulators finished with questions and our signage came down, I met Renaud on the quay. He had landed at a new firm, new brochure, same smile. "You were too sentimental," he said. "In this game, trust is a prop." He extended a hand. I didn't take it. "I now teach a course called The Anatomy of Promises. I tell students that cheap money lowers the price of capital and the price of lies. That governance isn't about paperwork, it's about pushback at the precise moment it makes you unpopular. That the footnote is where the story usually bleeds. My father gardens. He still says liquidity is trust, but he adds something now, and trust is accountability you can audit." On Sundays we walk past the old office. The windows are empty, and so are we, in a way emptied of illusions. If there's a lesson, it isn't triumph. It's the quiet shape of responsibility, making the call that costs you everything you wanted to protect the people who gave you their faith. In bull markets, betrayal feels like applause. In the end, only the silence tells you who you were.